나 비리비 집중하세요. 흔들리지 말아요. 싸 엘라 싸 티리비 평화가 함께하시길. 라스리안 온드
강하게 나눠주자.
평화가 함께하시길. 집중하세요. 평화가 함께하시길. 집중하세요.
사람이 무신함작을 실체했습니다.
싸 엘라 싸 티리비 평화가 함께하시길. 집중하세요. 평화가 함께하시길.
빨간 팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
평화가
빨간 팀의 억제기가 파괴되었습니다. 빨간 팀의
집중하세요.
포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
흔들리지 마.
빨간 팀의 억제기가 파괴되었습니다.
라스리안 온.
빨간 팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
평화가 함께하시오.
빨간 팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
집중하시오. 평화가 함께하시오.
빨간 팀의 억제기가 파괴되었습니다. 빨간 팀의 포탑이 파괴되었습니다.
평화가 함께하시오. 가엔나 힐기.
물살이 앉아요.
Wanna join me? Come and play, but I might shoot you in your face. Bombs and bullets will do the trick. What we need here is a little bit of panic. Do you ever wanna catch me? Right now I'm feeling ignored.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday pre-show. We are here on the first day of the week. It's myself, Valdez, and Hooney and Wolf. Hooney joining us for a very special pre-show that we do have prepared here. We're already on week 3. We are getting close to the 1/3 of the way mark here in LCK Spring 2023. And what have you guys thought about the LCK so far?
Well, we have the patch, delayed by a week, so we are going to be playing on 13.1 for one more week. I don't think we'll see too many major changes this week, except a little bit more of that 80 support potentially. I'm hoping that we see more of it because I think it's so strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, the meta has been, it's staying pretty, it didn't really get changed a lot, but I think like more so player actually found out like the way that how to they break the new meta right now, and it's apparently it's going well. Like a lot of the new picks, like as a win rate, like compared to other regions, especially in LCK, they're doing really, really great, and it's really good to see like other players that trying new thing, and it's working well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We are stuck on this patch for a while, so players, they had to adapt. They had to find new ways to handle it. So it has been fun so far. Why don't we go ahead and check out the standings now for the LCK so far. T1 is on top after their win over D plus Kia on last week's Saturday Showdown.
It's really critical that T1 took that win over D plus Kia to take first place. We're putting right now T1 and D plus Kia at a different tier than Gen.G, but that could change tonight. If Gen.G actually gets the upset win over D plus Kia, they'll move up into second place. And I think it'll solidify, instead of a top 2 here in the LCK, a top 3. But that's if they can make that win happen tonight.
And also, it's like I think Leap Sandbox is doing really, really great. Especially like no one really expected they're gonna be like top 4, or like even though it's like really early of the spring split. And we will see like how far they can make it. And it's also good to see that DRX break the 0 win. They finally got the first win.
Yeah, definitely really good stuff to see. Kwangdong's still looking for their first one as Closer is in first place. He is a little bit. Closer is in first place. Wolf was saying he looked a little bit larger than everybody else. Wolf was saying he looked a little bit scary.
Big Closer is a scary look, man.
Yeah.
Big.
And
Giant Closer.
Again, another kind of surprising thing. A Live Sandbox player, Closer, in number 1.
Zeka also, I think, being up here is really huge. I mean, he's carried his team to their only victories, right? Like, it's been a struggle for Hanwha Life Esports in the early part of the season. I think he deserves the credit he's been given here in POG votes for how he's defined their playstyle so far.
I mean, also especially also I would like to just shout out to the pace. Like, he started really slow, but I think he proved himself that like after the like few games, I think he got more used on the stage, and his performance was like way better than for sure like compared to before.
I mean, it's clear that he definitely has the skills to pay the bills. He just needs to get his mentality a little bit, screwed on straight and get used to the LCK. You guys were talking about the crazy new meta stuff, obviously. We can take a look at the LCK's pick ban top 10 and just kind of break down what we've been seeing so far.
I think it's really interesting to take a look at some of these picks that are so commonly banned, but rarely actually show up, still have a sub 50% win rate. Like Kassadin, for example, Yumi as well, paired with the Zeri. We're seeing this champion very highly prized in draft, but then when it comes to the Rift, it still isn't finding success. So we know the potential is definitely there for some of these picks, but more reliably, picks that make it through, oftentimes like the Lucian, like the Maokai, they're high win rate here. Caitlyn as well, really a big standout.
I mean, additionally, what Wolf says, I definitely agree. Like, because it's like, even though they're like really good pick, but some picks are actually really hard to execute it. So that's why I think that like there's like a strong team for sure can execute it like no matter what without them making any single mistake. But usually weak team can make a mistake and they can't like keep the snowballs up, and that's why it looked like much weaker to compare to like when the strong team actually pick it those champions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, oftentimes we see some of the more popular picks get picked up by every team, including the teams that are not winning, not having success, so kind of that hurts the champion win rate as well. So you can take little pieces from each one. It's kind of interesting to see one of the, I suppose, harder picks in the Caitlyn support at least, coming out a lot here, being picked up by Beryl and Keria and having a lot of success. And speaking of which, definitely something to talk about for this week. You mentioned it, Wolf. You guys were both talking about it. How many more 80 carry supports are we going to get, and who is going to lead the charge? Obviously, I mentioned Keria and Beryl, but what have you guys thought about this new creative support pick meta?
The bottom lane has been so defined by pushing, getting prio, and actually being able to take turret plates out and take early leads. So it's no shock that we do see Caitlyn, Kalista, right, coming into this list. Jhin, a little bit more of an outlier here, I think more utility coming into this, but the strength of Umbral Glaive and Serrated Dirk in the early game and how much power it gives you is just massive. Ashe obviously is not even a creative pick per se, but this is another pick that has so much utility outside of its laning phase. You can just set up so many picks so easily that it's extremely strong and honestly probably the most dangerous pick to leave open right now in this meta.
I mean, also it's a really good example that like the later on the value, like right now, it's not really important as much as like compared to the first laning and also before middle game. Like whoever, the reason why the range support, the AD support is showing off it's because of the vision score as what Wolf said. And also the first thing is like the Umbral Glaive is like really high value, but like also whoever gets the fastest side spawn is like really important. Like completing the support item, like it just gives you huge impact on the map. Like it's really helpful for the jungle, mid, like just anyone who plays in the Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, that support item has been a topic of discussion for many a Twitter analyst nowadays and many a major region analyst as well. We'll have to see if any changes are made as Keria, he's right here with us on the desk right there. Very good picture of him. What's happening in Keria's solo queue? Because we've seen a bunch of picks here already in the LCK, but what else can he bring out? What do you guys think about this lineup?
I mean, I think the Varus and the Twitch are the big standouts here for me in terms of what their potential is right now, obviously with what we know about the meta. Like the Karthus, the Akshan, that's a little bit more niche. Xayah, still build lethality, push those lanes, very survivable support. So the Akshan and the Karthus, definitely stuff we have seen in the past, experimented with, but not sure how sold I am on those picks just yet.
I kind of agree. Like I think more so, I'm kind of excited for Xayah more so. Like, I think it's gonna be really strong as a carrier, like because he's really good at like using CCs and then using ability, like hitting ability. The performance is like really great. At the same time, I think he's like just good at the AD carry. So and I think the Xayah like he can make a lot of good play and sick play. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I think, obviously Keria can, because he's already proven he can kind of play some of the new picks, he's also going even deeper because I think he can. And again, there's a question, right? Like, can everybody do this? Is 80 carry support really strong? Why are they going for 80 carry support in this sense?
A lot of these supports that you see here obviously have great wave clear. The Varus, really stands out. Twitch can help push really hard. Zaya also decent here, and you get an early Dirk. And the lethality stats are most valuable in the early game. So if you have something like a Nautilus, sure, the CC can help you all in, but doesn't have the same sort of pushing power. If you can actually take an early trade, just constantly push those lanes in, take down plates, you can set up dives. You have both the ability to crash a wave quickly so that a dive can come through, but also you're doing so much damage to the enemy champions while doing so. So you're basically doing everything all at once in the early game specifically. And if you can snowball, it's so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Like, especially as I said it, like if you're not making mistake, be able to keep the snowballs bigger and bigger, and also it's making the lane inconsistent. It's not like always like bad thing. Which is like if you make inconsistent the lane phases like on the bot, like the mid laner need to be like on tensions on the bot. Like jungler cannot even go topside. Like that's the exactly like what's going on the meta basically right now, and that's why the jungler picking Wukong, Sejuani, at least like it's really ganking base that like you must help bottom. Otherwise, either you just lose a bot because they're from the bot, or you win from the bot.
Yeah, I think it's a really good read. We're just going deeper and deeper into this like only bottom side meta. We can take a look at the LCK win rates here for some of the champions. Obviously, some of the higher win rates, Lucian Nami, not surprising. The Elise, you guys mentioned, we've been talking about this pick a lot. It's being played even in Challenger League here in Korea. Anything else that stands out to you from this list?
I think the biggest standouts for those were just the high skill champions. I think Elise is one of those picks that your team really has to understand how to play that bottom lane to get the most value out of it. Same to be true of Caitlyn, right? You mentioned how complex Caitlyn can be to play, but if your team is really good at macro, you're going to get so much out of the pick.
I mean, for bait picks, like I'm really happy that Victor's is like at the bottom, because like every single time when I see the Victor, like that pick is no good. Like everyone just like pick just like whatever they want, and then they just have a better high value. And every single time I just telling them the roto bages into tier build from the Victor, it's just completely bait. And happy to see that that's a 10%.
I was a little bit surprised to see Karma this low. I think she has a lot of value nowadays in this meta. Talking about LEC, LCS picks, we've been seeing some mid Tristana. That's been the topic on Twitter, as well as support Azir, because, I mean, why not?
I like that it's kind of like cheese picks here, because I think the Azir support can do a lot of similar stuff that we were talking about with lethality champions, just doesn't have the same amount of damage, but still can push. This is a prio type choice where you're trying to push bottom lane in. Tristana, same sort of scenario, kind of like Lucian mid we've seen in the past, where you're trying to all in, get massively ahead, and then push that value into other lanes. I think even though that's an 0-3 stat line for those three we saw there, I think they're good ideas, and I'm glad that we're seeing the other regions experiment a little bit more outside of the box here in what's been mostly a stale meta.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Like, especially on LCS, it's like they tried a new thing. It's not like that, not normal, and which is like they tried to do something stuff. But like, I think especially that game, the boost heal of the, the ability, whatever he brought on the team, like was not enough. Like, that's all I gotta say. Since I'm on the LCS agents.
He is the LCS agent. You guys should watch the Secret Boardroom show.
That's true. Guys, we're going to talk about the best ceremony that we have seen so far here in the LCK. There has been a kind of uprising in, pushing some of the players to go for this. This has been some memes and some of the content that we're doing as well. We're going to put a Twitch poll, is what I've been told, to vote on the best ceremony you've seen so far.
I actually, honestly, Willer's was my favorite so far. Like I'm
twice.
I'm not gonna lie. Like him doing the like bang with like the smoke clouds coming out of the gun was definitely my favorite. This was cool. This is when Live Sandbox did a ceremony together for Ryu. If I'm not mistaken, say it's your birthday, and we're gonna give you a win for your birthday, and they did.
It's pretty sick. I mean, I wish I can get it if I was a head coach.
Yeah, nice little coach ceremony, I guess. So those are the ceremonies that we did pick out from this past week. If you guys want to vote, I think there should be a Twitch poll up. You guys can vote on this one. What do you guys think? What would you pick? I mean, Wolf.
I said Willer. I don't know. What do you think?
If I have to choose, I would choose the Guba. Like Guba used there.
The arrow?
Yeah, the arrow's like I feel like every single time when he does the ceremony, like I feel like he's like bringing really good energy, like bright energy, and it's like I feel like the fans love it too. Yeah. I mean, that's why I think he become like really star. He makes it himself that brand is like really bigger, and then it's like really good to see it.
Yeah, I mean, players growing their brands, always definitely a good thing to do. Hooney, you're pretty good at that as well. Let's take a look at some of the Preds that we have had from week 2.
Oh,
this is where Wolf wants to go hide behind the couch, but
Oh, I'm actually better than I thought.
shouldn't. Yeah, you're up there tied with Atlas and Hooney.
That's not bad.
I had some predictions that were pretty bold, like the prediction of Kwangdong over DRX and the D+ prediction over T1. I really thought, I was pretty confident in both of those predictions actually at the time. So I was worried that when they went bad here that I would be like sitting at like 5 or so, but it was not that bad.
Yeah, pretty much everything
you
else.
and I both up there with Atlas. Sorry, Valdez, and then
You know-
we're just one behind.
This should put Atlas at first place now. Because he was tied with me for first place from week 1, and now he's tied for first place for week 2. So I guess it's just play-by-play victories here. Well, not victories, maybe just victory for Atlas. He's doing a great job. We can take a look at week 3 matchup. What do you guys think about this coming week?
I mean, especially for today, I think Leap Sandbox versus against the Nongshim, I think it's really good game that like Leap Sandbox need to like prove themselves that we're at the top 4. Like the Nongshim game shouldn't be that hard. And after the game, the D+ Kia and Genji, today's a really biggest match. I think D+ Kia like had a really good performance against the T1 compared to Genji like the last week that whatever they shown the performance. So I think it's gonna be really exciting.
Genji versus D+ is going to be great, right? That's going to be the second matchup of today. It could put Genji actually into top 2. If Genji lose that matchup, even if they win, match 26 on Friday, Genji versus Liv Sandbox is going to be pretty awesome. And Liv Sandbox could actually break into consistently the top 3, depending on the results of their match against Nongshim and that Genji match later today. So, like Liv Sandbox, I feel like we almost feel like it's a fraud. Like we're not ready to believe. We're not sure if we trust yet. But
Yeah.
they keep getting these wins, and if they have a big week this week, take the 2-0. I mean, maybe they just are a top 3 team in the LCK.
I mean, at the end of the day, if they keep winning, absolutely. And take a look at this. Atlas actually voted against Liv Sandbox today, which is pretty interesting. I mean, the guy is currently winning in the predictions, but he does stand out there. There were a couple of votes for DRX against Bro. Hooney, maybe you want to explain yourself on that one?
I mean, I thought just like DRX they had a one game, like as I mentioned it like earlier, like they had a first win. I think that would be the really good, like the hole that they can breathe like way better on the stage. And I feel like they're trying to find their own flow. So I thought they will have a like better chance to win.
A pretty easy week for T1. KT also should have, you can see the consistency on our predictions here, they should have a pretty easy week with Kwangdong Freaks and Breon here, but with KT Rosa, you just never want to trust early. You know, want to trust at the end of the week. So we did trust in our predictions, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, it's pretty clean across the board. We saw the Korean predictions as well. Everybody predicted the same teams, and they all predicted Bro. They all predicted Liv Sandbox to win this first one as well. So kind of makes sense. You know, we're pretty much all the same on everything outside of those 2 matchups. So yeah, it definitely feels like one of these weeks where there are teams that should win, but we might have some big upsets. Any ideas for a team that might
I mean, I
upset?
just want to say KR side is like a little bit boring, you know, like we want to take some more adventures, you know,
True,
like that.
They're safe. Let's say safe, okay?
we take more risk, you know, like let's make some fun, huh?
I think that could be there could be an upset with Sandbox and Genji. Like I'm not predicting it, and I didn't predict it there, but that's one of those upsets I think fans should look out for potentially. Because Liv Sandbox has upset so much already.
Yeah, maybe Hama Life as well. We'll see if they can